This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel Game of the Week.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Game of the Week. And today we are back in the 80-83 Fall League with another and last matchup in the divisional round of the playoffs. The National League divisional round, the Houston Astros, number 4 seed out west, and the Cincinnati Reds, the number 1 seed in the National League. But let's show you what's happened. Open up in Cincinnati. Big favorite in this. However, the pitching matchup in game 1. Woo! Nolan Ryan for Houston and Tom Seaver for Cincinnati. Epic on paper. Didn't play out that way. Second inning, Tom Seaver just has some issues. A walk, a single, couple more outs, and we think he's going to get out of it. Then 2 outs, they hit a ground ball to a 2-third baseman, McKay. Plays it into a single, followed by single, single, and single, and that's 4 runs. So that's kind of a tough break. He probably could have got out of that inning. Didn't happen. Bat around, and based on reputation and guile, Seaver sticks around, but he's down 4-zip. Then, in the 3rd and 4th innings, look, Seaver, like most pitchers, has an extra base hit on his card. You know, it's triple 1-7 double on the roll of 6-5. Well, they roll it once, twice, 3 times. Folks, like 90-95% of all pitchers have extra base hit something to rest on their pitcher's card. And if you hit it over and over and over again, you're probably going to lose, regardless of who you are. 6-0 Astros. Meanwhile, Nolan Ryan, magnificent since he went to Houston. No longer all those walks he dragged along with him in California as an Angel. With Houston, he's refined his game with a 1.69 ERA. 6 hits, shutout, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. The Houston Astros upset a stunned Cincinnati Red team. We thought this was going to be a pitcher's duel. It really wasn't. The one pitcher was brilliant. 6-0, Houston stuns the Reds. So the Reds now, the number 1 seed, they have to come back into game 2 at home. And in game 2, it's Joe Niekro for the Astros. Well, you've got J.R. Richard pitching a wild card game with a 1.90 ERA. Nolan Ryan's got a 1.69 ERA. He just shut the Reds out. And now you go to Joe Niekro, who has a 2.47 ERA. Well, in this one, the Reds get out to a good start. A Lee Lacy single and stolen base. A couple more singles, it leads to a run. Couple things to note. I should have mentioned it in the first game, but Lee Lacy got injured in the first inning and was gone. In this one, Brett Butler, the bases were loaded with 1 out, and Brett Butler rolled 4.63 double play plus injury. And so Brett Butler was out. So Lacy and Butler both missed the majority of both these games. Would that be important? Yes, it would be. 1-0 game. We have a Ty Waller single, and with 2 outs, Bill Duran doubles. The runner runs and scores off the center fielder. It's 1-1. Stays that way into the 7th. Both starters still in there, and that's Joe Niekro, and I forgot to mention Mario Soto, brilliant starter for the Reds. But in the 7th inning, Cruz walks. Then off of the Soto card, Denny Walling rolls double center field. And Cruz scores from first on a double with nobody out to make it 2-1. Actually, Mario Soto got the next 9 Astros out in a futile attempt to send it to extra innings or prevent the loss. It doesn't matter, folks. It's Joe Niekro. That run in the first, then nothing. He's actually pulled after 8 innings because they have Joe Sambito. And they got Dave Smith. Folks, this is the Houston Astros at the height of their pitching powers. This is the best Ryan, the best Richard, probably the best Negro, the best Sambito, and probably the best Dave Smith cards you're going to find. So if there's one team who has a chance to just roll through the World Series with pitching, it's the Astros. And they got a very competent offense. Another stunner. Houston beats Cincinnati 2-1. They have a stranglehold on this series. 2 road wins. Next 2 games if necessary in the Astrodome, and Game 5 will be back in Cincinnati. Oh my goodness, this is the crazy kooky stuff we see in the Fall League. You go off par quite frequently. It very seldom follows the chalk, the predictable routes through the postseason. And you're seeing it now with Houston up 2-0 on the Cincinnati Reds. Which brings us to Game 3 in the Astrodome. And what a weird pitching matchup this is to make it even more bizarre. Both teams went out in free agency in the offseason and found unique players. After a battle of righties in the first 2 games, we got a battle of lefties here in Game 3. For the Cincinnati Reds, they went out and acquired Randy Jones from the San Diego Padres. They admired Randy from a distance. He always dominated the Dodgers. And the Reds took note of that and said, you know, one day when the Padres are done with him, we'd like him to pitch for us. As the Reds really didn't have a competent lefty in this part of their timeline. So Randy Jones is going to have to save the Red season. He was, by the way, in 1980, he was 5-13 for a bad Padre team, but he had a 3.92 ERA and 154 innings. And even more bizarre is the Houston starter. And folks, I'm going to tell you this now before we introduce this guy. Obviously, teams can determine who the 20th or worst player on the team is. Generally, you don't want it to be your number 3 starter and the only lefty in your rotation, but that's who we got. No, not a utility catcher or a utility infielder or a corner outfielder. Rick Wortham has this distinction of being the least desired player here on the Astros at the most unusual time. He was a White Sox in 1980. He was 4-7. The ERA, I am not misquoting this. His ERA is 5.97. 3 pennies under 6. And one of the reasons we got him into this league is that in looking at the card, we didn't think he was really that bad. We thought that he doesn't give up home runs, doesn't give up a lot of extra base hits. Sure, he gives up a lot of walks and singles, but we've seen worse. And if you can, he's a starter 5, if you could somehow avoid the minefield, you can bail this guy out because you do have Dave Smith, Joe Sambito, plus Randy Moffett and Dan Boone in your bullpen. So there's plenty of ways to get Mr. Wortham some help if he needs it. So, if you're the Cincinnati Reds, you got to be licking your chops going, we got to get this guy. We're not getting swept. We're not losing to this guy today. Stranger things have happened, folks. Too tough to call, particularly after losing the first 2 games. Don't know what to expect from Cincinnati today. In a battle of lefties, let's get started from the 8th wonder of the world, the Houston Astrodome. Leading off for the Reds is Brett Butler. 59 is a K. Lee Lacy, 57 is a walk. See, that's most templates. There's not going to be a walk there, but there's a walk on the Wortham card on 5-7, lefties and righties. So he's going to put some guys on base, and this is where you've got to, temper your expectation here, and don't expect this guy to be, Madison Bumgarner or something in the postseason. So Lacy, a double-A stealer, but I can't imagine why you'd want to steal a base when a free pass will just move you to second. So he'll stay at first for number 3 hitter Ken Griffey. 46 is a base hit to right field. Lacy will not go coast to coast with one out because of the pitcher on the mound. Don't take unnecessary risk. 2 on, 1 out, Lee May. 45 off Wortham, double 1 to 16. Well, the experiment's not working out at all for the Astros right now. The Reds take a lead of 1-zip. Second and third for Johnny Bench. 47, and look, they're just denting Wortham's card. Base hit center field, Mayo hold. 2-0. Runners on the corners, 1 out for Foster. 55. Denton Wortham's car with a walk. Everything off Rick Wortham's car. Nothing you can do about it. Just sit and watch. Concepcion, 67's a K off the Wortham card. That's 2 outs. And Mike Ivy. 2-8 is a ground into the third. All things considered, burying Wortham, it could be 5-zip. It's only 2-zip. Bottom of the first. Houston can certainly dig themselves out. Leading off against the lefty will be Dickie Tunathan. 67 is the liner to short. And you know, as much as we give plaudits to Randy Jones, he's pretty much untested in the postseason, right? The Padres never made it while he was there. So we really don't have an accurate idea of how he will perform in a postseason game. Dave Cash, 54. Homer, 1 to 17. There you go. Base hit. The tying run is Jose Cruz. 45 off Jones' second C. On a runner in scoring position for Cedeno. 1-7's a K. Top of 2, it's Garth Orge. A lot of free agents in the Fall League, folks. Games you might not know. Players you may not know. Second X, Cash is a 4E12, makes the play. Back up top to Brett Butler. 65, short X. This is Thon, a 2E30 at short. He makes the play. And Lee Lacy. 33, pops to short. And like that, Rick Wortham's retired 5 straight. Bottom of 2. Tim Wallach. 111, short. Waller, 45, second. And Rob Peachlow, the DH. 47's a base hit. Ashby, 2-9, is a pop to first. We go to the third. Ken Griffey, 54, flies to left. Lee May, 66, flies to left. And Johnny Bench, 55, is a walk. Breaking the string. Finally getting the third walk off the Wortham card. George Foster. 34, grounds to short. All right. Just the 2 runs to show for it. Probably could have knocked this guy out if you tried harder, Cincinnati. You may regret that. By the way, the Astros get a couple runs. We could quick hook this Wortham dude. Dave Collins, 48, is a base hit. He is a double-A stealer. Bench is catching today with a plus arm because he's much older. They do have Mike O'Barry, good defensive catcher, but he's on the bench today. And down a couple runs, he's going to attempt a stolen base. They got to take some chances to help Wortham out here. And he steals second base. Runner at second for Dickie Thon. 47 is another base hit to right field. Collins, 17 against the 0 arm. Scores on a 16. That's 2-1. Thon's an ace stealer. We're going to have Dave Cash hit and run, though. Moves the runner to second base. Jose Cruz, 47, double 1, single dot dot. We got a tie game. With 1 out, ace stealing. Jose Cruz, he'll steal. He steals on a 1. That's not the T rating of Bench. Bench in 81, sadly, has a +2 arm. So that's just the attrition of all those years behind the plate. Lead run at second for Cesar Cedeno. 2-3 flies to right, and with 2 outs, it's Tim Wallach. 5'11", second X. Your second baseman is Garth Orge. He's a 4E12. Against left-handed pitching, you're going to see a lot of weird names. That's a base hit off the 4 defense of Orge, and your Astros have taken the 3-2 lead. Ty Waller. 1-7, double 1 and 9 is a double. Second and third for Rob Peachlow. 56 off Randy Jones is a pop to second base. So, Wortham taken off the hook. I mean, if he gets through 4 innings, it's considered a success. Concepcion. 2-5's the base hit. Mike Ivy. 3-6 flies to left. Garth Orge, 111 is a 5-4-3 double play. Oh my, Cincinnati. Oh my. This is a layup drill. And you're failing it. Bottom of the fourth, Alan Ashby, 65, center. Dave Collins, 63, short X. Shortstop is Concepcion on 1E20. Next to play. And with 2 outs, it's Thon. 48's a base hit. He'll try a steal with 2 outs off of Bench's arm. Until he gets somebody thrown out, he's safe. Now you got Dave Cash. 54 off the Jones card. Same thing he did in the first inning. This is an RBI single. Your Astros are up 4-2. Jose Cruz pops to third. We go to the fifth. 2-run lead. Now, the Astros, they're not beholden to allow Wortham qualify for a win with 5 innings in the books. If he puts a guy on, he might be gone, or he might be gone right now. You got lefty, righty. You'll give Wortham a chance for an out or two, but once you get to Lemay, Bench, Foster, Concepcion, Ivy, we're going to see Randy Moffett, a righty who gets righties out. So we'll see how far we go with Wortham here in the fifth in a 4-2 game. Brett Butler. 1-7. Let's take a look at a card. I haven't seen one today. Brett Butler. He's an Atlanta Brave in 1983. Reds got him in free agency away from Atlanta. Brett played for Cleveland in his career. I think he played for the Giants in his career, maybe the Dodgers as well. Here he's a Red. 281 in 1983, and that is 111-4 double. Now you got Lee Lacy. You'd like to get to Griffey with a lefty. Lee Lacy, let's take a look at another card. Lee Lacy, another free agent. This is why the Reds are so good this year. They were able to snooker Brett Butler and Lee Lacy away from their old teams, and those two players were really good in the 1980s. That was the best part of their careers. Lee Lacy was a late bloomer, by the way. Bloomed with the Pirates. 82 eats 312 with this card. 2-5, 111-17, misses it but gets an RBI double. And the batter's Ken Griffey in a 4-3 game, and I think we're pulling the plug. That's it. So the good news for Wortham, he can't lose the game. Bad news is can't win it either. So Wortham is pulled after 4 innings and 2 batters. They got 5 innings of real estate to cover, and they're going to begin that with Randy Moffett. Let's take a look at him. 1982 with the Astros, 2-4 with a 3.02 ERA in 42 innings. Dominates right-handed batters, as does Ryan, as does Richard, as does Dave Smith. This whole pitching staff has right-handed batter beaters through it. Middle relief, closers, starters, the whole 9 yards. So Randy Moffett comes on in the 5th. We'll have to deal with a lefty, Ken Griffey. And then after that, it's all righties. 4-3 game, tie run at second, nobody out. Here's the pitch to Ken Griffey. 2-4 is a fly ball to right. Now you got Lee May. 3-6 single 1-10. He can't get it. Rolls in 11. Tough break for Lee in his return to Cincinnati. And with 2 outs, it's Johnny Bench. Let's take a look at Johnny. Johnny will have 2 years with this card. I'll have it next year because it's an 81 card. 309. Highest batting average in a decade. My goodness. +2 arm catcher, though. But we have the luxury of allowing him to get some time at designated hitter in addition to first base and catcher, just to prolong his career a little bit. Big moment here for his Reds. Here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. 66 off Moffett is short X. Shortstop is Tunathan at 2E30. He makes the play. It stays 4-3. Moffett will be the pitcher of record for the Astros presently. Bottom of the 5th, let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right. Can the Astros pull the sweep? We know they're in their bullpen, a deep one. They'll have Moffitt. They'll probably have Boone, though. And if it gets to be a one-run affair late, Sambito and Smith will both be called in. Dual closers. Bottom of the fifth, Randy Jones. Now, how long do you go with this guy? You're not sure of what his postseason, career will be. Leading off for the Astros is Cesar Cedeno. 52 pops to first. Tim Wallach, 48 is a single. Ty Waller, 2 7s a K, and with 2 outs, it's Picholo, 59. 59 off of Randy Jones' card is double to center field. Wallach, will he take on the Brett Butler arm? He will. It's 12. It's 13-14. -2 arm makes it a 12. Out on a 15. Brett Butler. Great arm. Great defensive center fielder. Shows it there. Big play. Keeps it a one-run game with a guy gunned down at the plate. We go to the 6th. It's George Foster. 2-8. Let's take a look at George Foster's card from 1981. Probably the last great year of George's career. A .295 average. The numbers are down a little bit because it's the strike year. So it's only 414 at-bats, but he's got 22 homers, 51 walks, 23 doubles. Decent in left field as a 3-3. More homers versus righties and lefties. 2-8, homer 1-11, misses it, gets a double. Now you got Dave Concepcion. 59 off Moffitt is center C. Shallow fly ball does not advance the runner. Now you got Mike Ivy. Looking over to the bench, do you want a pinch hitter here in the 6th inning? Ivy and Orange aren't very good. You commit to the pinch hitter here. Wills and McKay could finish the game at their respective positions. And you got to take advantage of Moffitt being weak against lefties sooner than later, because who knows how long Moffitt will be in anyway. So we will have a pinch hitter. Batting for Mike Ivy. Oh, we have a choice of McKay and Wills. So we're going to go to McKay. Dave McKay will be the pinch hitter. Let's take a look at him. He's a switch hitter. All infield positions. Was an Oakland A in 1981. Hit .263. Also played for Toronto in his career. Chance to get an RBI here. Moffitt's not particularly good against lefties. Here's the pitch. 35. Hits a walk for McKay. Now you got first and second with 1 out. Garth Orge will also be lifted, and that'll be the last switch hitter on the bench. It's Bump Wills. Let's take a look at Bump. Texas Ranger. 1980 Texas Ranger, .263 also. Same average as McKay. 3 second baseman, Ace Steeler. Went to the Cubs by 1982. Then his career was over shortly thereafter. But it's first and second, 1 out. And now it's decision time. If you do the quick hook to Moffitt, you've got a lot of real estate. You still got 10 outs to get. You could go to Dan Boone, a lefty, for Wills and Butler through Griffey. And then it gets ugly once you get to May, Bench, and Foster. I think maybe, this is a tough decision for the Astros to make because Moffitt's not particularly good against lefties. And you've only pitched 5 1/3 innings of this thing. Plus, you don't want to wear out you don't want 2 or 3 innings on Sambito and Dave Smith in this game if you were to lose it in extra innings, for instance, and then lose their availability in a game 4. So Moffitt's going to try and pinch through this, as Bump Wills is not the kind of hitter to provoke a pitching change anyway. So first and second with 1 out. Here's your pitch to Bump Wills. 1-6 is a fly ball to right, and with 2 outs. Back up top to Brett Butler. Had the big double in the 5th inning. Scored on it. Really needs a clutch hit now. Here's the pitch to Brett Butler. 6-11 is going to be defense. First X, your first baseman today is Tim Wallach, former Expo. Tim Wallach is a 3-11 at first base. Needs to squeeze this one, and he does! GBC, and the Reds do not score on that opportunity. And that is not good, because now you're back to Moffitt chewing up another inning. It'll be righty, lefty, righty, 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 righty again. So that is not a good look. You've also introduced Wills to play second. McKay can play third. Lacey can go to DH. Lee May can play first base. Mike O'Barry is still on the bench as a backup to Johnny Bench as catcher. As we go to the bottom of the sixth, Randy Jones is a starter six. Very short leash. Switch hitter, righty, righty. Their bullpen, Hume, Moscow are better against righties, of which we don't have many until we reach the top. So Jones will face the first two batters here. Alan Ashby. 48, it's a base hit. Now Dave Collins, a 3-under hitter and a former Cincinnati Red, would love to bunt here. Two problems. Ashby's only a 10-runner, and Dave Collins hits 303. So why would you want to bunt when you can hit that well? So Collins is going to swing away. 67 off Randy Jones is a liner to short. Now back up top to Dickie Thon. We have a mound visit. Randy Jones, you add up the hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You went out and got him in the offseason. Is it to keep you in this game? Or do you allow your bullpen to stretch themselves out? Haven't used the bullpen yet because Seaver and Soto have gone complete games. Moscow or Hume? I think they're going to pull Randy Jones. Both teams are seeing the value of this game, obviously for the Reds, but the Astros are like, let's close this out now. Moscow or Hume? Moscow's, well, I think I got to go Tom Hume here. Tom Hume, relief 3. 1980, 9-10 with a 2.56 ERA and 137 innings. Was a potential closer for the Reds. They have Ron Davis closing for them. They have Bill Scherer. They have Paul Moscow. So in the 6th inning, Tom Hume will come in with a runner at first and 1 out and face right-handed hitter Dickie Thon. 6-11 off Hume. First X, the new first baseman, started. Ivy, the good defensive first baseman, was lifted for a pinch hitter. Lee May's over there now as a 4-15 at first base. It's got to be ancient. He makes an error. Lee May's return to Cincinnati. Not going well. First and second, 1 out, and Dave Cash, he'll be lifted. This is a two-part move for the Astros. Dave Cash's range is gone. So Bill Duran's a pinch hitter, and he's also a rangy second baseman, so that improves their defense. So Bill Duran will pinch hit with first and second and 1 out. Hume will pitch through to at least Cedeno, Wallach, Waller, the righties in the middle of the Houston lineup, in the same manner that Moffitt did. Here's a pitch to Bill Duran with 2 on and 1 out. 37 is single and a 1, lines out. And with 2 outs, it's Jose Cruz. 38 is a strikeout. Tom Hume bails out the Reds. It's a 4-3 game, folks. Plus some tricky maneuvers by both squads. Both struggling starters gone. The pitchers of record are Randy Moffitt and now it's still Randy Jones on the hook for the Reds. We go to the 7th, and Moffitt has what he wants. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 6 coming up are righties. It's the 3rd inning of relief, and actually 2 batters will hit the point of weakness for Moffitt. Lee Lacey leads off. 1-5 is a K. That's a big out. Griffey must get on base against Moffitt here. 38, he does not. He strikes out. And with 2 outs, big moment here. Lee May. If Moffitt gets through 3 complete innings, that is a huge win for the Astros. 3-10 for Lee May is a fly ball to left field. 3 innings in the books. We'll call it for Moffitt. He's a relief too. And maybe we just go to Dave Smith with all the righties coming up in the 8th. Stretch time here in Houston. What a fine game this turned out to be. Had the wild swings in here with Houston looking like they were going to get blown out in the first inning. Rally and take a lead. And Reds chip away. 7th inning here. We are enjoying the 13th floor elevators here. As soon as I can bring it up on the big board here for you. This is the Easter Everywhere LP. As soon as this thing comes up. Here we go. Easter Everywhere. This is a 2-disc reissue. Basically the 10 tunes from the original LP in mono, and then stereo versions. So you get about 21 cuts here. Easter Everywhere. This is Rocky Erickson, the 13th floor elevators, originating from Texas. Same scene that the Moving Sidewalks played in. Moving Sidewalks was Billy Gibbons' band before ZZ Top. So back to the game. Bottom of the 7th, Tom Hume. He will continue. Did a decent job in the 6th. Needs to follow that up here in the 7th. For the Stros, it's Cesar Cedeno. 5-11's a walk. He is a double-A stealer. He's going to take off. One of the things the Reds did not do is take bench out. And that could come back to haunt him, but wait a minute. It's 17 for a double-A. 18-19, he is safe. That is sad. Stealing on Johnny Bench and being safe on a 16? My goodness. Runner at second for Tim Wallach. 2-9. Let's take a look at a card, folks. It's Tim Wallach. 1982. Montreal Expo player. Was not protected because the Expos decided to ride out Larry Parrish at third base for a few more years. That might be a painful mistake by the Expos to the delight of the Astros. He's a corner. Can play first and third. Probably will move to third next year to make room for a first baseman. Can even play the outfield. Crushes lefties. 268. 28 home runs. Want to say I thought he was the National League Rookie of the Year in 1982. Or at least he's high on the list. 2-9 for Tim Wallach. Homer. 1-11. And when we look up, he just misses on a 13. That is a double. But Cedeno scores from second base. It is 5-3. Not what Hume wanted. Righty-righty. It didn't work. Now 2 more righties. Ty Waller. 6-11. First X. Lee May. Again, a 4E15 at first. And it's a base hit. And here come the Stros. They're starting to feel themselves, folks. They're smelling the League Championship Series in the distance. In a huge upset in the National League. Runners in the corners. Nobody out. Got to bring it up. Peachelow's an A-bunner. That would be a boon to do a squeeze here with nobody out, with switch hitters on deck. Getting a little bit over myself here. Yeah, let's do the pinch hit. Denny Walling is not that bad against lefties. He will pinch hit. Let's take a look at Denny Walling's 1980 card. He's a .299 hitter. In half a season, can play first in the outfield, mostly against righties. Isn't horrible against lefties, but it's still not good for Hume with lefty switch coming up. So Hume will leave after just 2/3 of an inning and all 3 batters reaching in the 7th. That's not what the Reds wanted. They're going to have to go to their lefty, and that's Bill Scherer. Bill Scherer was a Cincinnati Red in 1983 with a .274 ERA, 92 innings. Really needs to get Walling out here with runners on the corners and nobody out. Bill Scherer. Infield up. The pitch to Denny Walling. 2-7 is a K. That helps the Reds. Now you got Ashby, not particularly good against lefties. Infield will still be up. Pitch to Alan Ashby. 2-3 is a short with the infield up. That's 6-3 out. Runner holds at third. Runner from first goes to second. You got second and third with 2 outs, and now you got switch hitter, righty, switch hitter. Collins is much better against righties, so I think Scherer will deal to him. Here's the pitch to Dave Collins. 45 is a fly ball to right. How about Bill Scherer keeping the Reds in this game? First and third, nobody out. Really good against lefties, but not against righties. And he faced 1 lefty and 2 switch hitters. So that's yeoman work for Bill Scherer here. We go to the 8th. And this is the move you got to make. You got to make the championship moment. Look, I know we have J.R. Richard available to pitch in Game 4 and Nolan Ryan available to pitch in Game 5. But we got to take a championship moment when it comes, and that's 6 outs to get with a 2-run lead and all your defense in there. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is Dave Smith. 1981, he's 5-3 with a 2.76 ERA in 75 innings. Not his best year, but dominates righties in this card. And for the Reds, it's righty, 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 switch, switch. So Dave Smith will face at least the first 3 batters here in the 8th inning. And the first of which is, of course, Johnny Bench. Here's the pitch. 43, first X. Your first baseman is Wallach at 3-11. And he makes the play. Now you got George Foster. 1-6 is a base hit. Now we got a tie run. It's going to be Dave Concepcion. 6-10 off Smith. Catcher's X. This is Ashby's, a 2-8 catcher. And that's pass ball plus foul out. Not a big deal. You got a guy at second with 2 outs. But you got those switch hitters from last time out, McKay and Wills. Not the scariest hitters. Runner at second, 2 outs. Here's your pitch to Dave McKay. 34 is a ground to second, and Dave Smith gets out of the 8th inning. We go to the bottom half of that one. You got Thon. Scherer will continue through Cruz, then he'll be hooked for Ron Davis. So Tuna Thon leads off in a 5-3 affair. 59, second. Duran, not very good against lefties. 46 is a fly ball to left. And with 2 outs, it's Jose Cruz, final batter for Scherer. 2-8 is a ground ball to second. Well, folks, you know, if the Reds were to do the magic and come back and win this game and turn the series around again, you got to look at the great relief work Bill Scherer just put in. 6 straight punch-outs with runners at first and third and nobody out, down 2 in the 7th. That is what you want a setup guy to do. We go to the 9th. Dave Smith. It'll be Bump Wills, Brett Butler, Lee Lacy, and Griffey. I know what you're thinking. 3 of those 4 are lefty. Do you go to Sambito now, figuring that the game will be decided long before May, Bench, and Foster come up? And I think I'm looking at Dave Smith versus lefties, and he's really not that bad. And we're talking about Bump Wills. It's a 2-run lead. If the first 2 guys reach, it's going to look like a bad move, because then it'll be righty, lefty, righty, righty. And Smith's here's the other interesting tidbit. Dave Smith's a relief 3, so he can't hit a point of weakness in the 9th if 3 batters reach. They do have some leg room here. I think they're going to let Dave Smith pitch this inning or pitch into it. So Sambito is ready and waiting. Leading off in the 9th inning, all the defense is in, which was simply Denny Walling. Harry Spillman's the only guy on the bench. They don't need him. Here it is. Bump Wills leads off in the 9th. Here's the pitch. 2-9, Bump Wills, pops to second base for 1 out. That means Smith will pitch through to at least Lee Lacy. Brett Butler. 2-6, it's a liner to short. And here we are. Championship moment. Smith will pitch to at least, oh yeah, he'll pitch the rest of this inning, even if the Reds tie it. Here's the pitch to Lee Lacy. 2-4 is a grounder to short. And that will complete the sweep. Perfectly threaded. They knew Wortham was a liability. He only went 4 innings and a couple batters. Didn't qualify for a win when they gave him a lead. Dug him out of a 2-0 hole with 4 runs. Weren't content with giving him a chance to win. They went to Moffitt. Instead of Sambito and Smith, it's Moffitt and Smith, who went 5 innings and knocking down a lot of these right-handed batters in the middle of the Cincinnati lineup in there for Wortham. It's a 5-3 final, and your Houston Astros have swept the #1 seed. Cincinnati Reds will take this right to the postgame, folks. We have an upset in the National League. Oh, my. And the Cincinnati Reds, a #1 seed knocked out. If there is a silver lining, I'll tell you what it is, folks. Next year will be the famous 1981 year for Cincinnati, when they had the best record in baseball and didn't make the playoffs. But they will probably be a favorite to come back to this point. They'll feel the disappointment of this year with the 80-83 squad. But next year it'll be the 81-84 Reds team, and I expect that team to compete for the World Series because that Cincinnati team in 81 was fantastic. Dave Smith pitched the whole 8th inning and gave up just a single. Moffitt qualified for the win and got it. Let's give Dave Smith a save as well. How about Randy Moffitt also? A hit, a walk, and 2 Ks. So Wortham, the damage on Wortham, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits, 3 runs, the 2 in the first and 1 in the 5th charged to him, inherited runner. The walks, only 3, and Cincinnati may regret that. 2 strikeouts. Bill Scherr did a heck of a job. He got the last 6 Astros out. Tom Hume, however, he came in and faced Denny Walling. Actually, I'm sorry. Hume came in and faced Thon. But then he gave up the run in the 7th. So he got the 2 outs in the 6th with a strikeout. And then in the 7th inning, unfortunately, it's 2 hits, a run, a walk. 2 hits, a run, and a walk. Charge to him. Randy Jones in 5 1/3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 hits, yeah, but 4 runs. All earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts. He does. The loss is charged to Jones because the Reds never had a lead in the later part of the game. 1019, 0108, 51438, 51438, 4414, 1444. So you could argue that maybe they held on to Randy Jones too long. An unproven commodity on a new team. Just didn't work out, unfortunately, for the Reds. They put 12 men on in this game. Astros put 15 men on. They win by a couple of runs. When you look at the overall composition of Houston's team, if you could somehow ignore the Rick Wortham part of it, this is a fascinating pitching staff. One of the best we've ever assembled. And the one way of also looking at it is, what if the bullpen is asleep because Ryan, Richard, and Joe Niekro are throwing complete games all the time? Well, we know they get to stretch their bullpen out with a number 3 starter is in there. The Astros are now 23-11 on the year. They're hitting .266 with a .303 ERA. Rick Wortham's 1-2. He's pitched 38 innings and given up 17 earned runs. Let's see what that is. It's an ERA of 4.02. That's not bad at all. Remember I said his ERA is 5.97 on the Strat card. J.R. Richard, folks, is 8-0. Dave Smith is 10 saves. Astros don't have a ton of homers, as you would expect. Cedeno and Collins have stolen a lot of bases, 19 and 17. Leading hitter is probably Dickie Thon, 43 for 141. 305. 23-11. Cincinnati Reds. They got caught by the Astros. And a brilliant regular season comes crashing down. They had a bye. They didn't have to play in the wild card game. And they did not look like they did during the regular season. They hit 280. Probably 290, 295 before that playoff series started. More than respectable 3.43 ERA for the Cincinnati Reds. Seaver and Soto, 6-2 and 6-3. But after that, Randy Jones, and then after Randy Jones, Joe Price were just 4-5. Not a lot of power, believe it or not. Leading home run hitter was 5 for Johnny Bench in 30 games. Not a lot of RBI either. Leading hitter for the Reds, Concepcion was 32 for 109. Ken Griffey was 32 for 107. Foster, 38 for 116 is pretty good. Yeah. So when we look at the pitching, that's the crazy part, folks. It's only a 5-game divisional round. In our summer league we play, it's 7 games. And this leads to a lot of crazy possibilities. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for kind of a zanier matchup. For instance, we had the Expos and the Phillies in the World Series a year ago. Something crazy like that. So in the next series, we know that the Reds are done. But the Astros are just kind of getting started. And guess what, folks? J.R. Richard will face Steve Carlton in a Game 1. Then they'll go Ryan. They can go Necro Wortham. And then after day off, they'll go Ryan, Richard, Necro. So that's your NLCS. Steve Carlton versus J.R. Richard in Game 1. Nolan Ryan versus Eric Schall in Game 2. Wow. Houston and Philadelphia. And how about this? Just as much as I talk about how crazy the results can be, this is the 1980 to 83 Fall League. In 1980, the National League Championship Series was the Houston Astros versus the Philadelphia Phillies. And that's what we have. Players are different. Different set of players on these rosters. Matter of fact, was J.R. Richard would not have played in that. The man suffered a stroke during the All-Star break of 1980 and never pitched again. So they didn't have him in the league championship. Now he'll be pitching, and now the Astros may have a chance to knock the Phillies out of a 1980 World Series appearance. What a fun Final Four it is. You got the chalk in the National League, Houston and Philadelphia. Meanwhile, in the American League, nothing. Absolute no chalk. Yankees, Kansas City, they're gone. Baltimore's gone. The 82 Brewers are gone. The Tigers are gone. It's Oakland and the Ohio players in the American League. So we'll have probably a Cinderella versus the chalk in our World Series. Fun matchup. Fun Final Four. Thanks for checking this out, folks. Break up your Houston Astros, a 3-game sweep over a number 1 seed. That is significant in the way we play our league. So the Astros are riding a high. Thanks for checking this out. We'll see you next time.